£1,000 and kept an outstanding blog on the subject matter. So actually investing into the continent, showing that he was committed to the continent, and I know that what he says about Somaliland and investment into the country is absolutely true. Minister, I'd like to invite you now, just to keep up the pressure. Your coalition partner expects an invitation here. Please welcome Lynn Featherstone.
Excellency, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, and James, of course you are invited anytime to the Liberal Club. Very beautiful. I hope you love this room that we're in today. It really brings me great pleasure to be here with all of you today, and I'm especially proud that the UK was asked to host this event. The UK government attaches a great deal of importance to our relationship with Somaliland, given, as James mentioned, our historical ties, and we remain committed to helping it build a more prosperous future for its people, which is why we have an important aid relationship with Somaliland, supporting areas from economic development through to health and public financial management. And I can see from the audience, there is a lot of interest among businesses in working with Somaliland, so this meeting is very timely. These things have a timing to them. And I hope that today can provide a platform to discuss both challenges and opportunities, and most importantly, provide a networking opportunity for you all to share ideas and to follow up after the event. In its vision for 2030, the government of Somaliland aspires to create an environment which enables all people to have the opportunity to realise their potential. This is the right goal, and Somaliland has put itself on a solid footing. In the past 20 years, it's managed peaceful transitions of power, building a political system based on multi-party elections, and it is putting more children through school, more students through its 16 universities. Last year, the government approved its first comprehensive public financial management reform strategy, which was endorsed publicly by the President, who has joined us for this event. And we're here today because business will be central to Somaliland's growth and development. It's already happening. Hargeisa teems with people starting new businesses and shops, but much of the country's potential remains untapped. The rich agriculture and livestock sectors could produce goods with much higher added value. Projects financed by the DFID-supported Somaliland Business Fund demonstrate the potential range of investor interest, from restaurants to manufacturing and processing for tomato paste and ketchup. And the Port of Berbera provides a lucrative transport hub for trade with Ethiopia. This is good news, because it is only through investment, trade and jobs that Somaliland can reduce its dependence on aid and remittances. Put simply, investment and trade lead to economic growth and jobs. And as DFID's Secretary of State said, it is jobs, growth and enterprise that will defeat poverty for good. That is the only way. The evidence is indisputable. Wherever long-term per capita growth has been higher than 3%, we have also seen significant falls in poverty. If you take Vietnam, where a threefold increase in per capita GDP resulted in poverty levels falling from 64% in 1993 to 17% in 2008. And for growth to be sustained, it must be smart, it has to be inclusive. And that's about growing these sectors that can drive productivity. This means increasing agricultural productivity and promoting service sectors and manufacturing. We know that people in developing countries benefit from growth when growth creates jobs. And that has to be a priority for Somalilanders, where 63% of men between the ages 25 and 34 are unemployed. And for women, the figure is 80% unemployment. And giving jobs to the young means building the capabilities of tomorrow's entrepreneurs and managers and leaders. And people want the opportunity to work their way out of poverty. People want the dignity that comes with having a job and being able to provide for your own family. And the people of Somaliland, with all their entrepreneurial potential, are no exception to this. But it's not enough to rely to only harness the potential of half of the population. And it is still too often the case that economic growth leaves behind women and girls. And it holds the country back. In India, we have seen states where more women work have seen faster economic growth and the largest reductions in poverty. Including women and girls is not only the morally right thing to do, it's good economics. So while I would like you to do it for the right reasons, if you're doing it for economic reasons, it brings the country out of poverty. And if our aim is to drive inclusive, sustainable growth that creates jobs and livelihoods, the means to do that must be business. Put simply, business drives growth. Improving the business environment is the key to unlocking that potential. And only by tackling the obstacles to doing business can governments promote entrepreneurship and the growth of enterprise. Now, Somaliland has already made great strides to support the private sector. In the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report for 2012, it came above the Sub-Saharan African average on important issues such as construction permits, getting electricity, and registering property. All of those are enabling bringing down the barriers to business. But other challenges remain, and we should continue to work together to address them. We know, for instance, that the inability of firms to access finance is a major constraint to their growth. But with DFID support, the Car Islamic Microfinance Services has opened 4 branches in Hargeisa, providing finance to businesses which might not otherwise have had access to capital. As enterprise is central to development, government and business have to talk to each other. We politicians need to hear from the people who are taking the risks, the people who are investing their money, and the people who run the shops. There is a tremendous value in listening to businesses, both at home and abroad. Working with world-class businesses means developing economies benefit from the support, advice, and the expertise that they need to grow. Today is a very good start, with government and business together in the same room, and I hope we can measure the day's success by more than just the number of deals that are signed. And I hope today is the start of a long-term conversation between government and business about the future for Somaliland. The international community, of course, has to play its part too, and Somaliland's friends can help by going beyond traditional aid and looking at business as the engine of growth. The Secretary of State has set out 3 priorities for promoting economic growth. These are our 3 priorities. Making it easier to do business in developing countries, building open economies where equal rights and equal opportunities mean that everyone can reach their potential, and working with private sector partners, the new development players, to maximise their development impact. And that approach delivers real change for poor people. The loan from the DFID-funded Somaliland Business Fund, Ahmed has diversified her business from what was just a small tea shop, now selling utensils and clothes and tailoring, and it's helping to put her 4 children through school. The UK is also helping put in place critical economic infrastructure, and I was very pleased to hear about the recent contract signing for the Larapok Berbera Sheikh Road rehabilitation project, which will, when complete, reduce travel times and vehicle operating costs between Hargeisa and the Ethiopian border. And the UK is supporting this project through the Somaliland Development Fund. In addition, we've worked with the National Planning Commission to support development of livestock, agriculture and other roads, as well as water and the environment. So to conclude, Somaliland's prosperity requires growing businesses and creating jobs. And we know that growth needs to be smart and it needs to be inclusive. And there is no trade-off between equality and prosperity. And to achieve Somaliland's Vision 2030, we need to maximise the potential of business, both homegrown and international. And this means creating an environment that promotes rather than hampers business. So let us today focus our efforts on that goal. Have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.
Minister, thank you so much for that. It's so refreshing to get real examples of what DFID is doing in the country. Those examples that you just cited there are just tremendous examples as well. The real practical and bottom-up examples of how DFID can help the country. So wonderful to hear that. We're very pleased now. We're going to hear from the Foreign Minister, which is going to be followed by His Excellency the President. Foreign Minister, before I invite you up, thank you so much for the hospitality you showed when we arrived in Somaliland a few weeks ago. That was tremendous, one of the best receptions we've ever had when we've been abroad. So thank you very much for that. A very warm welcome to the Foreign Minister.
Very much welcome, Mr. President, honorable ministers, excellencies and ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity in opening this historic event to provide a brief history lesson about the nation that brings us all here today. Many of you may not know, but British Somaliland was a protectorate within the British Empire from 1987 to 1960. The friendly relations between the UK and Somaliland dates back well over a century, and our close ties continue to this day. Following the independence of British Somaliland, the state of Somaliland came into existence as an independent and internationally recognized country on 26 June 1960. On independence, the state of Somaliland was recognized by over 30 UN member states, including the UK. A few days after receiving its independence, the state of Somaliland decided to join the South, the former Italia, Somalia, in order to realize the vision of the Somalia at the time. Despite the fact fruitful rule culminated in a bloody civil war that lasted for years, and in which over 50,000 Somalilanders lost their lives and over 500,000 people were displaced. The Somaliland people chose to withdraw from the Union with Somalia and reassert their independence in 1991 after the Civil War. That decision was confirmed in 2001 referendum in which 97% of the participants voted for independence. For this reason, Somaliland is not part of the federal state of Somalia, and it will remain as Somaliland forever. While we understand that Somaliland's sovereignty is not yet recognized de jure by the international community, the nation has functioned and thrived for over 20 years despite this, and we are here to stay as an independent state for the rest of our life. It's against this backdrop that I stand before you today. I'm sure that for many of you, Somaliland requires no introduction. We have, after all, sitting in the audience, representatives from the diaspora community and investors who have already established a successful business in Somaliland. Despite the peace and security that exists in Somaliland today, our greatest challenge remains that the nation's status as an unrecognized state. It has created some hurdles for the government and its people. However, Somaliland's status has also provided opportunities for innovation to address some of the challenges that we face. For example, how would you address a growing population with large numbers in remote areas who depend on remittance but have limited access to electricity and internet connections? The answer is mobile banking. Somaliland is one of the countries that are presently using mobile banking. And by using these innovative ideas, telecommunication companies in Somaliland have been able to provide millions of Somalilanders, regardless of their location, with their access to money, a lifeline for many. Later this afternoon, you will hear about another challenges that Somaliland decided to overcome through innovation. Is mainly how do you reduce famine and create income in a hostile climate with limited urban lands? The answer, and you will see this afternoon during our panel discussions, is implementing projects that use dry farming techniques to grow crops and vegetables. Today's forum will give you a sneak peek into the opportunity that Somaliland has to offer. The idea of investing in Somaliland may sound challenging. You may believe that you will face a number of hurdles. However, we're here today to dispel your concerns, answer your questions, and introduce you to the exciting opportunities that investing in Somaliland provides. I know you will find the information shared in the panel today, the panelists today, fascinating. And the learning does not have to end here. I invite each and every one of you to see for yourselves and visit Somaliland. You will be warmly welcomed by all of us, and we will be looking forward to be doing business with you. Finally, I would like to thank Her Majesty's Government, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, Department of International Development and Developing Market Associates for assisting with the planning, organization, implementation of today's wonderful conference. Without your efforts, we would not be in this beautiful venue, with the opportunities to network, engage, and creating lasting contacts, all to encourage the development of Somaliland's economy through foreign direct investment is key in key industry sectors. I would also like to thank you for the time and for participating in this crucial conference, which I hope has gone a long way into demystifying Somaliland, its history, and current state of affairs. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for coming here to this conference. It's a great day for all of us in Somaliland. We're going to be working all with you today, and we're looking forward to be seeing a lot of investment to come to our country. It's urgent, a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure many of you who are already doing business with us will attest to that information. And once again, thank you for the organizers. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all for this conference. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Minister, for such a passionate presentation. Before I invite the President to come and join us, I want to assure you that the President is going to be with us here all day today for a series of bilaterals. There'll be opportunities to meet with all of the government of Somaliland, who I believe are now 10 ministers, among a lot of support staff as well. So before I just invite the President, and the President is going to leave us straight after his presentation, as are the ministers from DFID and the UK Foreign Office, I want to assure you that the President is with us all day today alongside his entire government. Please give, President, yesterday it was an absolute pleasure to have met you for the first time, to have engaged with you, and I thought the speech that you gave was tremendous as well, and really passionate and full of all of the right ideas in terms of engaging with business. And just before you come up again, sorry, this is the last point, I'm not trying to be longer. This is one of the fullest rooms we've had of a morning for an investment summit for a long, long time, and I see a lot of really interesting businesses here that are represented here today, and it's a great chance for both sides to really talk about developing and deepening the relationships between the UK and Somaliland. Please give a very warm welcome to His Excellency the President.
Excellencies and ambassadors, honorable ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you about a place, a nation in the Horn of Africa, a land the same size as England, of England and Wales combined, yet little accurate information is known about it. This place is an oasis of calm in a turbulent region. It has many unique features which few know about. For example, it has benefited from peace and stability for over 23 years. Bundles of cash and valuables can be left in the middle of a busy market in its capital without fear of theft. Successful, peaceful and democratic elections have been held to elect parliamentarians and presidents, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. This land is also full of resources, from mountains of cement to one of the largest shipping ports in the Gulf of Aden, connecting the Far East to the Middle East and the West, to having the longest runway in sub-Saharan Africa. The growth potential of this nation is unprecedented. You will hear about the developing energy sector, from extractives to the abundance of renewable energy resources. You will also hear about the growing financial sector and how through innovation, millions of people, including many living in remote areas, have access to mobile banking, which is slowly changing the economic landscape and banking sector of the nation. You will also be informed about the rich agricultural sector and the opportunities to diversify the nation's export potential beyond livestock. I have the pleasure of being the president of this nation. My country, Somaliland, is at a unique stage in its development and has arrived at this point through 2 decades of state building and peace building at the hands of constitutional, legitimate and democratically elected governments. My government took on the mantle of leadership following a fair and free election in 2010 and has since further strengthened government institutions, consolidated peace and managed to keep terrorism and piracy at bay. These foundations have created an environment where foreign direct investment can be implemented effectively and securely, with long-established government bodies and experienced private sector groups to drive the process forward. At the present stage, the government's primary commitment is transformational reform in key areas such as public financial management, justice, investment climate, and security. We have ambitious plans across all these sectors. I hope that today's event will provide you with genuine insights into the reality of doing business in Somaliland, its prospects as an investment destination, its current opportunities across a number of sectors, and the possibilities afforded in the near future. With the dedicated investment in key industry sectors, Somaliland has the potential to not only survive but also thrive despite its precarious location and the instability of its neighbor. Somaliland takes pride in having embarked on a unique and uncharted course of bottom-up state building that has far exceeded the expectations of the international community. Spurred forward with the support of our international partners and foreign investors, I believe that Somaliland can be the model of what successful development can look like in the Horn of Africa. We, the interested stakeholders, are at the cusp of fundamentally changing the future course of Somaliland's development. Now is the time to act, and I wholeheartedly encourage each and every one of you to give serious consideration to joining Somaliland on its journey towards becoming an alternative regional hub in the Horn of Africa. This forum provides the perfect opportunity to showcase to international investors and the world that Somaliland is open for business. It has significant investment potential across a number of sectors, and regardless of what happens elsewhere, the prosperity and continued growth of Somaliland can be the legacy left behind by all of us sitting here today. As a testament to how serious my government views its trade and investment agenda, we are joined here today by my Ministers of Presidential Affairs, Water, Energy, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Trade and Investment, and National Planning and Development, as well as our Chamber of Commerce, every major investor in the country, dozens of flourishing indigenous businesses, and a strong technical support staff to answer your every question and encourage your investment. I stand before you today to encourage you, the private sector and the foreign investors, to reward and empower those people who have committed to the shared values of peaceful coexistence and legitimate politics by visiting Somaliland and seeing firsthand the wealth of investment potential my nation beholds. Do use the formal and informal opportunities for meaningful discussion and networking today to listen, engage, ask and follow up on the issues that pique your interest. After all, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency the President. Thank you very much to the Honourable Ministers and the first panel.